Greetings, royal queens and kings. It's your host, Queen Tosa. Welcome back to the Queen Tosa Show. I will be your captain today. I have a co captain, but you'll have to stick around and find out who that is. First and foremost, if you're not subscribed to the show, I need you to press that subscribe button down below. If you're already subscribed to the show, set your notifications to all so that you don't miss any of the hot topics and fire content. And go on and press that like button while you're at it. Queens and kings on the agenda today. Let's get into it. On the agenda today, we have Linnethia Monique. Nene Leakes is an American television personality, actress, presenter, businesswoman, author, and fashion designer. She first rose to prominence after becoming the breakout star on Bravo's reality television series, The Real Housewives of Atlanta. She was born December the 13th, 1967, in Queens, New York. Her spouse, rest in peace, Gregg Leakes. Her children are Bryson Richard Bryant and Brent Leakes. She's 5'10". She went to Morris Brown College, 2 years. That's, you know, in, well, that's attached to her bio. Well, we have a lot to get into. Let's get into it.
Girls can't never say how. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Girls can't never say they want it. Girls can't never say how. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Oh nah. Give it to me like you need it, baby. Want you to hear me screaming, have it breathing. I don't need a reason, baby. I want it till you get by. I can get it to you right, baby. I wanna be I can be real good. Please don't get any feelings. Hey, I need some love.
All right, copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tends to balance in favor of fair use. This video was made for entertainment purposes and is transformative in nature. All right, so before we get into it, there were a few things that I did want to say about the interview with Nene. It was very pleasant to hear her voice and to see her first and foremost, because she's been in the public eye, but she hasn't been in the public eye. But I just feel like it was a great engagement overall. Um, she talked about when she first started the Housewives franchise, right? It started from like season 1, so Carlos had her own, they, got to kiki a little bit, but then what I enjoyed was Nene still has her glam squad, and it just showed that, they taking good care of her. Um, her bills are being paid. And it seems like, she's in a new space and she's single again. And she spoke about, didn't really go deep into it, but she did speak about, her relationship with Nami. And so before we get there, let's talk about so from season one, she explained, there was a joke like, oh, we was broke in the beginning. She was like, no, we wasn't broke. We were making ends meet. And so that's what I really loved about her because it was just like, okay, well, of course, at the time everything was going on, and I believe some girls may have been shady and brought up that situation like, oh, well, you're in debt, or you don't have the extended funds that appear to be right. And so that was really cool. So let being a housewife. Being a housewife, I really enjoyed like from season one, like when it first had come out, because they made some very great points. There were only excuse me, there were only housewives on the show, you know, and I actually enjoy that because when it first had come on, and yeah, it was fresh and everything, right? But the we loved the cast members, and it would be a selected member, and I think that selected member is Nene. Okay, all right, guys, it is late night, but I was like, I know I had posted earlier that I was gonna focus on healing, but I didn't want to let you all down. I'm not gonna lie, like I won't really say what's going on because it's a lot, but just know that I'm still pushing. Okay, so I won't be here long. This is just kind of like a recap. So, speaking of being a housewife, she spoke about that, and mentioned she didn't work. Her husband, Greg, took care of her and the family, the boys, which was amazing. And I got a shout out to Greg, rest in peace, for being like an example. You know, yeah, people have their ups and downs, but it's how did this person make me feel? You know, and I believe he won America's heart. Okay, let's talk about so Nene's son Brent was in the third grade when the show started, and Bryson was in the 11th grade. So the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people are saying, well, Nene needs to, you know, help her son and go and rescue him. And I think if you've never been in that situation as a parent, I don't think that you would really understand. When you talk about you've given your child resources to go and get help, and they go because they're forced, and they're not going because they want that change. And she expanded on that. It's like she loves her child, she loves her son, she loves all her children, right? But what she will not do is get in what lessons they're facing. Those lessons he got there. And this was not like an overnight thing. It was a build up. And it's like when you're ready, you'll get the help, and you'll make that change. But there's people in place. Nene's got friends in place that are gonna step up and take. I know Lamar Odom mentioned that he would help, and another one of her friends, because y'all know Lamar Odom has a rehabilitation center. Okay. So let's talk about the trends and why we're still in the early seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay, so you have to understand some of the children grew up on a television show. And what does that do? You get popularity in school, and it's a whole different type of lifestyle, and you become a rich kid. You were once, making ends meet, and now you're a part of the rich kid circle, you know. And so when you talk about coming from rags to riches, sometimes people can abuse that power. And that's why I said my new journey for this chapter is freedom with responsibility. You know, I have the freedom to do whatever it is that I want, but I also have a responsibility. So, yeah, it's a lot. But then we get over here to divorce. Nene spoke about her divorce from Gregg, rest in peace. And Carlos King was actually the first one to know that she was divorced. And, they were very close. And from season one, Carlos and Nene, when they met, it was an instant magical moment. And history was brewing up a cocktail. Okay. And that's why I feel like it's so important to make a first impression, a lasting impression, a honest impression, you know, because you never know when you're going to run back into these people, or, you could be able to help them. They could be able to help you. It could be um, common interest, like a charity or something. You can collaborate. There were only a few things that Nene did have regrets about, and that was, I believe, her divorce, and yeah, it was her divorce, and I guess like the children being on the show, pretty much getting celebrity without asking for it, you know, because I mean their parents were a part of a cast. So Nene's I made it moment was, pretty much after season 3. That's when the checks like really started coming in, because she started from quick weaves to owning her own line. Okay. So that right there had given me hope. It's just keep going, keep going, keep going, and it'll pay off. So I always enjoyed Nene, and I always wanted to know, like, what were those women of success brunches like? I will always wanted to be in a room and, you know, rub elbows and get to know like the organization, what they stand for, and how can I be a part of it. One day I'll be at the one of those meetings. I'll be a member. This is another thing that stood out to me was that Nene was asked by Carlos, how do you do what you do? Okay. In so many words. And Nene says, I guess like maybe the first 3 weeks, in the first 3 weeks, she had come on there and she said that, she just got this epiphany, like, I'm not comfortable. Like, I feel like I'm not myself. And she said she chose to be herself. And that's when her stardom really started to rise. So, being authentic and being herself was amazing to hear about. Now, she did lightweight touch on her son's drug abuse, in which we did get into that. But yeah, those are all the notes that I had taken. This is like brief just off the top of my head, but there's a part two of it. I'll be reviewing the part two, and we can get into, you know, more of what she had going on. But I just wanted to come by. Thank you all for being patient. I know um, you guys were looking forward to me to come on. However, stay connected, set those notifications, and I'll see you next time. So long.
Something else need love, just need love, just need love. So what's a girl to do? She needs love, she just need love. Girls can't never say they want it. Girls can't never say how. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Girls can't never say they want it. Girls can't never say how. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Give it to me like you need it, baby. Want you to hear me screaming, have it breathing. I don't need a reason, baby. I want it till you get right. I can get it to you right, baby. I wanna be healing. I can be real good. Please don't get these feelings. Hey, I need some love.